Hey, what's up, guys? Like always, good to be back doing this for all you wonderful fellow bronies. Uh, well, straight to it, I guess. For anyone who didn't listen to my previous reading, I was planning on my next one being the Clopfic Love After a While, as yet another collab, but with a different user. Um, but I started work on it, and it ended up not being as enjoyable as I remembered from when I just skimmed it. So, after quite a bit of back and forthing, I was talking to Brilia, and we decided to just go ahead and bring you a clop that I've been wanting to do for a while, or at least considering. It's called The Beat Stream, a vinyl XOC story that is 3 chapters long. I've had this one in my FimFiction faves for a long time, and was just a little hesitant to do it, out of a little sensitivity, but I guess at this point, you've all seen that I have very little shame in my work. But I'm still a nice guy, so I'll just give a disclaimer. Anyone who doesn't like water sports, shut this video off now. Okay. Anyway, I once again did it as a collab with my dear friend, Brilliant1994, giving her a chance to once again show off her fantastic vinyl voice. Thank you very much yet again for that, love. So, I guess that's all for now. All the gory details out of the way, appropriate warnings dispersed. Thanks as always to everyone tuning in once again, all the new subs I've gained between the last vid and this one, etc. Hope you all enjoy. The Beat Stream by Time Bomb Zero. Part 1. Water Sports. The door flies open, revealing the cheap hotel room as it smacks into the side of the wall. It's dark inside, but neither of the two of you can worry about this at the moment. You have other, more pressing matters to attend to. Namely, getting to know one another in more ways than one. In a flash, you pin your mate against the wall next to what you assume is the bathroom door, and press your lips to hers, an action she shares right back. Finesse may as well not even be a word, as the two of you all but slobber on each other's mouths, completely lost in the moment. Your tongue twists together with hers, locked in a battle for dominance. A battle that ends far too soon, unfortunately. In a few seconds, you feel her hooves push on your chest, forcing your lips to part and eyes to meet. Well, at least you think they meet. With those thick purple glasses, you can never tell where or what she's looking at. Maybe it's why she prefers them. Maybe it's why you find her so alluring. Your manager had told you tonight would be rather routine for an up-and-coming DJ like yourself. You would meet up with a rival DJ, talk some smack before the show, and then have a DJ battle in front of an audience of intoxicated bargoers. Whether you won or lost didn't matter, just as long as you got your name out there. And sure, the night started out as planned. You met up with Vinyl Scratch, your blue-maned, white-coated opponent, exchanged the usual passive-aggressive remarks, and then performed your friendly match to determine who was the top dog in the DJ underworld. However, the battle itself was where the night started to take its turn for the unexpected. You can't quite explain it, but somehow your music connected with hers. Every beat, whine, and pulse you threw out synced up with what she produced like they were made for each other, a perfect call and response. By the time the last beat dropped, you were completely lost in the music. You don't even remember who won the battle. While both of your crews went to work tearing down the equipment, you slipped backstage to track her down. To your surprise, she had the same thing in mind, and you both found each other in no time at all. You planned on thanking her for the great show and offering her a drink, but she had other ideas. Right when you were within reach, she wrapped her hooves around you and locked you into a deep kiss. You were shocked at first, but in no time you were kissing her right back, the feelings you had from the show stronger than ever. Just like now, she had pulled away before you could get to know her too much, and offered to sneak away to her hotel room just down the road before either of your managers found you. You could not have accepted her offer any faster.
Well, I appreciate the enthusiasm,
says Vinyl, bringing your mind out of the flashback. I could say the same thing, you reply with a smirk.
True. I hope you can keep this up for all the fun things I have in mind for us tonight.
Your grin grows wider. Oh, really? Mind giving me some hints?
Maybe, but first I need you to unpin me from the wall, so I can take care of something first.
Something? You raise an eyebrow. Like what? You hang on her statement much more than you suppose you should. Perhaps it has something to do with what she has planned for tonight. The possibilities are endless.
I have to tinkle.
But this is one possibility you never expected. Your eyes open wide and your heart skips a beat. You have to, you state blankly.
Tinkle?
She finishes your sentence for you.
You know, take a leak, water the flowers, relieve myself, pee.
She leans closer to your head to emphasize the last word. I know what it means. Your eyes shift about, unable to meet her glasses. Did she leave the room's heater on, by chance?
Great. Now, unless you want to sleep in a wet bed tonight, I'd like for you to let go of me. I've been holding this in since before the battle, and the line at the bar was insane when I got done.
Oh, yeah, sure. You reply, a blush starting to grace your cheeks. You take your hooves off Vinyl and let them fall to the floor, keeping your head turned to the princess-sized bed. You hear her slide back into the regular standing position. You can go take care of that now. Your voice falters as you speak while you wait for her to enter the bathroom and end this awkward moment.
Really? You sure you don't want to come and watch?
It seems that sending your mind into overdrive is a second talent of Vinyl's. What? Really? That's, You fumble with your words as your head darts every which way but her face. A soft laugh from Vinyl brings your head to a stop.
I knew it.
She declares with a grin.
You like seeing a mare go into the bathroom, don't you?
Maybe just a little... You struggle to find the words to explain yourself without getting thrown out, but it soon proves impossible under her piercing gaze. At least, that's what you imagine. Yeah, I'm into that. You finally confess, hanging your head and ears in shame. Great. You haven't even been in her room for 5 minutes, and your most personal kink is out in the open. You suppose that your time with Vinyl was fun while it lasted. Maybe you'll spot her working the turntable in a club or browsing the selection at a music convention, and hopefully not have to back up to a prerequisite number of feet when you do.
Looks like today's your lucky day then.
Vinyl utters the last words you expected her to say. What? You mean... You blink a couple times as you raise your head to meet hers.
If it'll help get you good and ready for tonight, you can have a front row seat if you like. How's about it?
Sure? You respond.
Lovely. Now let's get started. I feel like I could burst if I so much as cough too hard.
With that, Vinyl turns from you to the bathroom door, locking the hotel door with her magic in the process. The bathroom door opens magically as Vinyl lets herself inside, with you following close behind, paying special attention to her toned backside as it wiggled from side to side. You don't know whether the swaying comes from her playful nature or simply the buildup of fluids inside her, but you find it hard to care at the moment. With a flick of the switch, the bathroom reveals itself. It's standard fare as far as hotel water closets go. A basic toilet sits on the far side, the lip hugging the ground to provide easy access for foals. A square shower with a plain white curtain takes up most of the remaining space, leaving just enough room for both you and Vinyl to squeeze into. So, there's the toilet, you mutter, still unsure if you're not just having a very pleasant wet dream.
I suppose it is.
Vinyl's lips curl into an unsure look as she stares intently at the commode, although you can't tell due to her shades. You notice one of her hind legs rising up and down at a steady pace, but once again you aren't sure if it's caused by her bladder or some second thoughts. You don't have to do this, you say, still not quite sure if you're merely having a dream. I could just wait outside while you...
And where's the fun in that?
Vinyl turns around as she interrupts you, her cheeky smile returning in a flash. You twitch your head back for a split second, your eyes more open from her sudden movement. You mean...
I've whizzed in front of other ponies before. Heck, I've even been ticketed for letting it fly in public once. It's no big deal to me.
She turns around to face you, keeping her eyes and smile locked on you the entire time. At least you think she does.
It's just that the toilet's a little boring, don't you think?
It is, you reply, blinking a couple times in confusion.
Normally I leave the door when I tickle anyway. So how about we change things up a little for tonight?
What did you have in mind? You ask.
Well, I was thinking I could make use of the shower and see how well the drain works.
She nods her head towards the bath as she speaks.
What do you think?
Really? You feel warmth going to your cheeks and a certain other place as your mind goes to work creating mental images of her squatting over the shower drain, sighing in relief as the stream travels from her body to the floor.
You going to stand there clocking all night?
Oh! You jump back again, wondering how long you had spent in your fantasy. Shower's good, yeah.
Great.
She gives you a smug grin.
Now, if you'll excuse me, I'd rather get started before nature busts the door down, calling for me.
Vinyl emphasizes her statement by bouncing a little bit on all four hooves, causing your blush to deepen just a little more. Right. Go ahead, you say as you take a step back, allowing her access to the shower. Not wasting any more time, Vinyl opens the curtains with a quick flash of magic and gives you another sultry look as she steps into the shower. Using what limited space she has, she turns around to face you and lowers herself on her rear legs, her haunches hovering a few inches above and away from the drain, forehooves dangling near her belly, and tail raised toward the ceiling. Despite the limited lighting, her position gives you a clear view of the area between her legs. A simple line of pink stands out from her solid white coat, a harbinger of things to come, you hope. Her teats lie obscured within the confines of her fur, a common trait among mares. For a moment, you wonder why the view of a mare's privates still succeeds in getting your motor going. Ponies normally go without clothes, and a simple glance at an angle is all it normally takes to get a good look. Though you haven't seen Vinyl's special place before, it would not have taken much effort to do so, whether intentionally or by accident. Then again, you still aren't exactly sure why you find the sight of a mare relieving herself so enthralling as well, but that hasn't stopped you from thinking about it many a pleasant night.
Like what you see?
You gulp a bit louder than you expect as Vinyl's question snaps you out of your trance for the second time tonight. You force your gaze to shift up to her face, which carries a smile that suggests she already knows the answer she'll get. Yeah, you mutter, your command of the equestrian language not fully returned yet. It's lovely.
Really? Lovely, is it?
Giggles Vinyl.
Well, what about now?
Out of the corner of your eye, you spot her forelimb moving towards her haunches. Glancing back down, you see it push onto the point where the line fades and pull her gender upwards. What was once a mere pink line blooms into something more vivid and hypnotizing than you ever thought possible. Your blush only grows deeper as you take in the new details of her marehood, including a certain nub trying to poke out between the folds.
I take it as a yes.
You think you hear Vinyl say. You're too mesmerized at the moment to be sure.
So, you ready for the show to start?
You definitely heard that. You force your eyes to meet her shades again, and head to make a half nod as you reply, "As ready as I'll ever be,"
Good enough for me.
she says back.
I don't know if I can hold this back any longer anyway.
With that, Vinyl lowers her head, turning her attention from you to the drain in her exposed marehood, with you eagerly following suit. She gives one last tug on her privates to ensure proper aim, and then pauses to breathe in and out in an attempt to relax her body enough for her to let go. You feel yourself getting giddy on the inside. It's only a matter of time before one of your most secret fantasies is finally fulfilled. All you can do is continue staring, noting the slightest tense in Vinyl's muscles, while you wait for that wonderful phenomenon to begin. A small gasp escapes Vinyl's lips as a tiny trickle leaks out from her folds, before coming to a stop shortly afterwards, leaving a few stray drops on the shower floor. Your eyes shoot open as wide as they can to analyze every last detail, your brain instantly committing the first sight of her pee to memory. This image alone would have been enough to fuel countless personal time sessions, and even more awaited you. That is, if more would come. "Is something wrong?" you ask after a few seconds pass without so much as another drop. You look up at Vinyl's face and spot a shade of red breaking through her normally white face. A moment of worry comes over you. What if she didn't really want to be seen like this? Letting it go in front of other ponies in a casual setting was one thing, but to do it solely to fulfill your perverted desires.
No, it's just taking its sweet time. Figures it would.
Replies Vinyl, her gaze still affixed to the ground.
Just give it a second. Oh, now.
You snap your head back just in time to witness the show start. A small trickle, clear in color with a slight yellow tint, once again seeps out of her urethra, traveling in a small arc and making the tiniest noise as it hits the ground just a few inches short of the drain. The stream is not very strong, breaking into separate droplets before it hits the ground even from such a small height, but it flows at a steady rate, slowly bringing Vinyl the relief she's desired for so long. What feelings of doubt you had about prying on this personal moment fade away as the urine starts to form a trail to the shower's drain. You had always believed no one shared your interest in how fillies use the bathroom, yet here was this DJ Mare, someone you had only met personally earlier today, fulfilling your request without even so much as a double take. Just knowing that you've found someone who accepts this kink of yours makes you leap for joy on the inside. The fact that she's actually doing it for you is mere icing on the cake, but a very delicious icing regardless. Vinyl's most recent exhale grows into a sigh, its volume slightly louder than the sound of her tinkling. You don't blame her. You can only imagine how pleasant it must feel for her to be freeing herself from the uncomfortable pressure she had to endure for almost the entire night. You also don't blame her when you spot the reason for her sighing. Her trickle slowly grows into a full stream, arcing closer to the drain and creating a healthy splatter as it hits the floor. A small puddle forms as the urine flows from her faster than it can drain out of the shower. It's at this point that a certain scent begins to permeate the air. A smell that makes your face scrunch up as it invades your nostrils, giving it an unpleasant tickling in the process.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Says Vinyl, noticing your grimace.
My college roommate always complained my pee could wake the dead with its smell.
Don't worry about it. You shake your head in an attempt to both brush off her embarrassment and clear the stench from your nose, if only for a few seconds. Coming out of your shaking, you shift your gaze up to Vinyl's face, noticing the red spots breaking through on her cheeks. It just comes with the territory. You're doing great. You offer her a smile, trying your darndest not to scrunch it up from the smell again.
Well, I'd hope so. I've been going potty all by myself for ages now. Although, I guess you could still call this an accident.
A mere wave of her free hoof calls your attention back down south. At this point, the puddle has grown quite a bit, almost reaching Vinyl's hind legs if not for the subtle slope and valiant effort of the shower drain. Despite this, her nethers continue to produce a healthy flow with no sign of stopping soon. You had heard a rumor somewhere that white-coated mares tend to significantly outpee their brethren. You aren't sure where the logic from it comes from, but you're certain that Vinyl lives up to the myth. Maybe, you chuckle, but lots of ponies use the shower as a toilet. Any port in a storm, as they say.
I suppose so.
She giggles back.
Now that you mention it, I have a story about this one time when I really had to go in the middle of a gig. Bet you'd love to hear how that one ends.
She's right. Your brain already goes to work imagining how her story plays out, but it soon proves hard to focus on fantasy when you have the real thing in front of you.
Although, it looks like you're having fun all the same,
She says, adding a giggle to the end, and pointing her free hoof towards your chest. At least, you hope she is. A quick glance down at your chest confirms your fears. You've been giving Vinyl quite the show downstairs, just like she's been giving you. Oh, my bad, you say as you try to force your forelimbs to lock together.
Don't even think about it.
Vinyl says, putting a stop to your attempt at modesty.
You're getting a look at mine. It's only fair I get the same privilege.
Yeah, you're right, you reply. Feeling a bit silly, you shift your legs back apart, even further than before. If someone's going to have an entertaining look at it, might as well give them the best view they can, you figure. The conversation comes to an end here, and the room falls into silence save for the small sounds of liquid hitting acrylic, and Vinyl's occasional sighs of relief. With nothing else to distract you, you return to watching Vinyl relieve herself, doing your best to ignore the strong musk in the air while your heart flutters and your body grows warm in a select few places. Eventually, the flow weakens, decreasing in volume and letting gravity pull it straight down instead of curving to the floor. As the trickling slows into a few stray drops, Vinyl lets out a quick moan as she gives one last spurt before the flow comes to a complete stop. With the show over, you turn to meet Vinyl's gaze. At least you think you do with those thick goggles of hers. A trail of red still offsets her face, but she still finds the ability to give you a coy smile in return.
All done,
She says, her voice mimicking the pitch of a young filly.
You mind tossing me some paper?
She nods her head toward the toilet. Yeah, sure, you reply. Turning away from her, you make your way to the unused commode and grab the spare roll of toilet paper sitting on the tank. Heads up, you say before you turn back and toss her the roll. Showing off her magical prowess, Vinyl grabs the roll in midair, then proceeds to tear off a few pieces and apply them to her nethers, setting the roll on the floor. Once more you find yourself unable to look away from her as she attends to this personal need. Vinyl moves the paper with efficiency, a mix between pressing down and making small circular wipes to remove every potential drop. She might only think of it as another mundane chore, but to you, it's a moment almost as intimate as the act of love-making itself.
Much better,
Vinyl declares as she lifts the tissue away, now marked with a damp spot.
Thanks for the help.
She turns to face you again. Actually, your gaze shifts off to a random corner of the room. I'm the one who should be thanking you.
What for? Tending to a biological need and not bothering to shut the door?
Well, yeah, you reply. You're the first mare I've been with to actually do that for me.
Oh.
Vinyl raises an eyebrow, then rises to her hooves, taking care to avoid the slowly draining puddle she had made.
I take it your exes weren't as open to your taste.
I, never got up the nerve to ask.
That's a shame.
Vinyl steps out of the shower, her hooves working their way around her mess, the used tissue held in front of her.
Should have just gone for it. You'd be surprised at the kind of things your mate could be into. Might want to move there.
At this point, Vinyl and the dirty tissue are now inches away from you. Oh, right, you mutter, pressing yourself against the wall as much as you can. Giving you a light giggle from her throat, Vinyl drops the tissue into the toilet and pulls the handle, flushing the paper away, the toilet's only purpose for the night.
It's all really relative.
She keeps talking as she backs up to the door.
One marriage gross out is another's turn on. Really no reason to be ashamed of what you like, as long as it's not outright murder or something crazy like that.
I guess so. You reply as you take a couple steps forward when a question you can't help but ask enters your mind. Hey, Vinyl.
Yes?
How did you figure out I was into that?
I saw it in your eyes when I said I had to go.
She answers without hesitation. It was that obvious? Your ears and gaze droop a little.
Not entirely.
She explains.
I've taught myself how to get an idea of other ponies through their facial expressions and eyes. It comes in handy in quite a few times, actually. You'd be surprised how much you can learn from just looking at someone's eyes.
Yeah, sounds like something I could stand to learn. You return your focus to her head when another thought enters your mind. Is that why you wear the shades?
Excuse me?
Vinyl drops her smirk and raises an eyebrow. In hindsight, that may not have been the nicest thing to have asked, but you can't help yourself from pressing on. You know, so other ponies can't figure you out from your eyes?
That's more of a bonus, honestly. I just think I look better in a good pair of sunglasses is all. There's no deep mystery to it.
Oh, forget I asked then.
Actually, now that you've mentioned it,
Vinyl's smile comes back.
I have a quick game for you to play.
A game? What kind of game? You ask, unsure of whether you should be curious, excited, nervous, or some combination of the three.
Simple,
is all she says. Without another word, her purple sunglasses begin to glow a deep blue before they lift off her face, revealing a pair of closed eyes. They don't stay closed for very long, however, for soon they flutter open to reveal two bright red irises, their focus entirely on you. You were wrong about finding her glasses so alluring. Her eyes are the real gems.
Your job,
she says, thankfully ignoring your dropped jaw.
is to figure out what I'm thinking from just looking at my eyes.
Is that all? You ask as soon as your vocal cords start working again. Do I win a prize if I get it right?
You're looking at it. So what's your guess?
You stare into Vinyl's eyes, taking in every detail big and small, from her ruby colors to the sultry angle that her lids slightly hang. You could stare into those eyes for hours, but it's only a few seconds before you form an answer that you're sure is the best you can muster. Your eyes say, "Come hither." At your response, Vinyl breaks her gaze and lets out a noise somewhere between a scoff and a laugh. Was that wrong? You ask.
It was close enough,
she replies, still carrying her smile. Does that mean I get my prize? Rather than a simple yes or no, Vinyl leans her head up to yours and plants a gentle and soothing kiss on your cheek. You could grow to like this method.
Does that answer your question?
She asks as she moves her head back. Sure does, you reply with a goofy grin.
Quick learner, I see. Now, come on. There's a nice cheap mattress we can continue having fun on. That doesn't reek of urine.
Sounds good to me. In truth, you doubt the aroma of her tinkle would leave your snout before a day or two at the least, but you can't say it wasn't worth it. With that, Vinyl turns around and exits the bathroom. You take one last moment to look at the puddle in the shower, almost fully drained away, then turn the light off and head into the room, shutting the bathroom door behind you, eagerly awaiting the fun times you're sure to have with this mare. Okay, so 1 down, 2 to go. Like I said, I hope this doesn't wind up being the vid where I lose subscribers. If anything, people just get a bit of a laugh out of it. Chapter 2, fortunately for maybe a lot of you, is more traditional Clop. Just straightforward sex. Sorry if I spoiled it for you guys. So, hopefully that won't take long to have up after this. So, till next time, my friends.